Petco Park, a new beginning, let's go. Started back rocking the brown. Ever since we've been knocking them down. Baby said she wanna go to the game. Taught her how to say Padres gang. Started back rocking the brown. Ever since we've been knocking them down. Mitchell and Ness with the old school name. All of the homies holler Padre gang. Yeah, they.
And good day, everybody. Welcome to the Padres versus Cardinals pregame show for May 31st, 2022. This is the Talking Friars YouTube page. I am Ben Fadden, your host. Thank you so much for tuning in. It is like 2 p.m. Pacific time. The Padres take on the Cardinals tonight in the middle game of a 3-game series at 4:45 Pacific time on Bally Sports San Diego on 97.3 The Fan. The Padres entering today are 30-18, second place in the National League West, 3 games back of the Dodgers. And then the Cardinals are in second place in the National League Central, 4 games back of the Brewers, and they are 27-21. For the podcast and the actual episodes of Talking Friars, feel free to leave a voicemail, 693-335-5770, to be featured in an upcoming episode with any of your Padres thoughts. There's been some Padres trade talks on Twitter, a little recently, so feel free. Any thoughts that you have, feel free. 619-335-5770. Again, 619-335-5770. To be featured in an upcoming episode. And then the social media channels, obviously, at Talking Friars on Twitter for in-game highlights, the more consistent in-game highlights, and then Instagram and TikTok as well. If you missed it on episode 174, I just talked to Jack Stronach, a Padres prospect. He went to Helix High School, the same high school I went to. So that was fun to talk with him. And I've been posting some clips about that on this YouTube channel and on the social media channels as well. I hope you subscribe to this YouTube channel for daily Padres content. We were at 703 subscribers, trying to get up to 1,000 because some want to implement those super chats. And in order for those to be implemented to improve the show and all that, you got to get to 1,000 subscribers. So I'd really appreciate it if you help me out with that. As for today's game, Adam Wainwright on the mound for the Cardinals, Blake Snell on the mound for the Padres. Padres coming off that loss yesterday to the Cardinals where Paul Goldschmidt and Nolan Gorman, another Nolan, not Arenado, but it's Gorman that homered. And Nick Martinez pitched fine. Still a quality start, but Steven Wilson was not good. We'll talk about that on the series reaction episode after this series tomorrow. But as for Blake Snell, I mean, what you're expecting out of him today, hopefully 5 innings. If he goes anything more than that and it's still, 3 or less runs, kind of like the start that he had against Milwaukee. Obviously, you hope that he doesn't give up the long ball. He stays consistent inside that strike zone. That's what I hope happens. But, I mean, with the Milwaukee start that he had last time out, I really liked what I saw out of Snell because he wasn't really nibbling. He wasn't throwing the ball in the dirt as much, or when he would get right back to throwing the ball not in the dirt. And I know that kind of sounds silly to say, yeah, a major league pitcher not throwing the ball in the dirt. Of course, you're supposed to not do that. Well, with Snell, that's part of his nibbling, right? Is gets ahead in the count and then he throws like a slider or something and it goes in the dirt. And all of a sudden, he keeps trying to do that. That's what he's done in the past. And all of a sudden, now you're walking guys. Now it's being a 2-2 count or a 3-2 count. And now you're forced to throw a pitch that the hitter can definitely hit. Now, at the same time, I still want him to attack the zone. Like, you can give the opponents, the other hitters, good pitches to hit, but don't, you know, I mean, I guess my point is I'd rather have that happen than him be throwing balls when he's ahead in the count and then, being forced to throw strikes, right? Throw strikes when you're ahead of the count so that if guys foul stuff off or all that, you still feel good. You're still in the count, right? And the walks don't hurt you. Right? That Philadelphia start where he walked 3 of those guys, 2 of those ended up coming around to score, and I believe the Padres lost that game, if I remember correctly. I think that's a game they lost. Anyway, that's not the point. But last time out, 5 and a third with the against the Brewers. 3 earned runs that he gave up. Said he wasn't nibbling, wasn't ball in the dirt as much, and I'd rather have him give up those home runs at least as he's coming back from those rehab starts than walk a lot of guys, right? Because that means that he's staying in the strike zone. He won 104 pitches last time out at home against the Brewers. It seems like he is built. As for Sky's comment here, says a little concerned that the Cardinals are a team known to do well against lefties. 8 earned runs that they had against Rodon. Carlos Rodon is referring to that Sunday night baseball game, and yeah, definitely. But we've also if Blake Snell's on, it doesn't really matter what the other teams are against righties and lefties. He's one of the best pitchers in baseball when he's on, right? It's just a matter of when he's on. So, I get the point, but it's more of just staying inside the strike zone. If you get a lot of runs, it's one thing if it's inside the strike zone, okay, then maybe find the location of the pitches. It's another thing when it's outside the strike zone and now you go, "Oh, wow, well, I'm not even throwing strikes. I have to just get in strike zone." And so there's just more steps. "Oh, I'm not in the strike zone. Now I have to just get in the strike zone." And now that I'm in the strike zone, that's another step that probably is taken the next start. Now the start after that to refine the location of those pitches. Instead of, okay, I'm in the strike zone, now I have to refine it. It's just a short process. And yeah, Sky, his hitter is unhittable even to righties when he's on, right? When he's not throwing that in the dirt. And major fan, right? The average fan like me, just sitting here. Yeah, Blake Snell's slider in the dirt, we'll swing at it. We're all gonna swing at it. But it's hitter, they know what they're doing. They know what pitches a strike, and even pitches that might look a strike to us, not actually. They know that he's strike. So that's why it's like sometimes you're watching a game, dang, how are they not swinging at these pitches? Well, because job is to look to pitches. They see thousands of pitches weekly, right? You know, batting against machines, against pitchers. They just maybe not thousands, hundreds of pitches week. It's their very this very Sky says thoughts on the lineups. I thought in good Matt Bueno a day instead yesterday. Yeah, maybe Bob come out with a report about Hosmer maybe being hurt a little bit or something because we're not in the lineup or it was because he was aging. I'll game log real quick. But I feel like it was pretty recently that he had a day off. Let's see. If they have a game May 26th, I don't think they did because it's not showing up May 26th on logs. No, but he hasn't had a day off in a while. Yeah, they might have had a day off the 26th. I think they did. So yeah, he actually has not had a day off in a while. I think he's been DHing some. So maybe there's just a mental day off. So scratch that thought. Actually, now that I'm looking at the game logs, scratch that thought of he might have um, something hurt or I think this might just be a day off for him. It's a left or excuse me, it is a righty, but curveball heavy, breaking ball heavy. In his career off of Adam Wainwright in 19 at bats, Hosmer is hitting 211 off of him, driven in 4 runs, not hit a home run off of him. So, yeah, as for the lineup, I mean, yeah, we can talk about that right now, actually. I'll share that with you. Both teams' lineups are out. We're probably 2.5 hours away from first pitch. For talk about St. Louis first, real quick, and then we'll get to the Padres side. So starting with St. Louis here. Tommy Edman leading off at second base, Paul Goldschmidt at first, Nolan Arenado at third, Albert Pujols DHing, Juan Yepes in left, which I heard, by the way, I posted the Rookie of the Year rankings or whatever that MLB.com put out, I think, last week. And there were some people saying that Juan Yepes should have been named. So we'll get to see him tonight. Yadier Molina catching, hitting sixth. Sosa at short, batting seventh. Harrison Bader is batting eighth in center field. And then Brennan Donovan is in right field, batting ninth. Don't have a lot of takeaways from this lineup. Bodies in there. All the familiar names are in there. No Nolan Gorman, so that's good that the Padres don't have to face him. But not a whole lot. Just name the lineup there. Cardinals. And then for the Padres, obviously, Profar leading off, Manny hitting second. But then there's a change. With no Hosmer, it's Crony in the 3-hole, which I like. Balancing out the order. You got a righty on the mound in Waino. You got a lefty leading off, a righty in Manny hitting second, another lefty, a righty, a lefty, a righty, and then a lefty. So, yeah, there's a couple spots where there's consecutive lefties, but kind of impossible sometimes with guys being available or guys you want in the lineup to completely stagger. This lineup, I mean, I like Jake hitting third when Haas isn't playing. Um, again, with that left right type thing. And I like, you know, I'm a believer in Jake. Like, even when he's struggling, it's kind of like, well, I mean, I kind of still believe this guy is gonna at least put together a good at bat. I know he's swung in a lot more frequently this year than it seems like in the past. But again, I think we've been spoiled by Jake. 2020 he replaced Hosmer at first because he had that, was it a stomach bug, hand injury in 2020, and then in 2020 obviously he had the All-Star season. Um, and he started off last season like not striking out, like, or swinging and missing. I don't know. Crazy long stretch of games that Crony did not swing and miss. And that's just not the way that baseball is realistically. Um, so personally, I think that you're not going to see Cronenworth consistently not swing and miss because it's Major League Baseball, right? Things change. And pitching is hard. I don't have to be a major league hitter to tell you that. But for the rest of the lineup, I mean, Voit DHing, you don't really have a ton of options there because with no Hosmer, you have Cano in the lineup already. So Voigt's obviously H. Will Myers is back. That's the other storyline in here with Haas out. Right field, he was dealing with that knee issue. He underwent a big rigorous workout according to Kevin Acee yesterday. So should be good to go today. And he'll be hitting fifth in the lineup, in front of Cano and behind Luke Voit in the batting order. So yeah, Will Myers strikes out some, maybe a little bit more than some, but I'd rather have him in the lineup than Grisham and a Zokar, right? All right, moving to the bullpen situation. Taylor did not pitch yesterday because the Padres lost. Tim Hill got in there, so he's probably not available today. And then Steven Wilson sucked yesterday. He'll Oh, my mic was muted. Here we go. So what I was saying with the bullpen situation, I don't know how much my mic keeps going out. Regardless of how Snell pitches, Stammen just has not pitched in a long time, so I would expect him to go. All right. that's the bullpen situation for today. Yeah, I saw that, Sky. Yeah, I unmuted it. For some reason, it mutes in and out sometimes. I don't know why. Hopefully you can hear me now. It says my mic's on. All right. What to watch for is for today. Snell nibbling or not. Will he continue the trend that he had yesterday, or not yesterday, his last start of not really throwing a ton of balls in the dirt and just throwing it seemed like throwing more consistent strikes. I think he was 6 pitches in through 4 his last start against Milwaukee on Tuesday, and then 44 of those 66 pitches were strikes. So he was throwing more strikes there. Will that continue? Will Myers' return, obviously, that's a big thing to look at. And then Voit, the matchup with Wainwright. That doesn't seem like a good matchup to me because Luke Voit obviously struggles. He has struggled against the breaking ball so far this year. And strikeouts need to be lower today. They had 13 yesterday. They had 5 guys who struck out twice. Everyone in the starting lineup but Jose Azocar struck out yesterday. Azocar's not in there today. But Myers strikes out some, maybe more than some. Some might be a little generous some of the time. So maybe the strikeouts only lower a little bit. 13 seems a lot. So that definitely needs to go down. But it's probably going to be hard because Wainwright is going to go to that breaking ball a lot. And that's part of the reason why I don't think that Voit matchup's very good for him. It's not like it's a lefty with the curveball, but it's a righty. That makes it even more tough. And I don't think Voit has a career appearance yet against Adam Wainwright, at least in that bat. My Padre pick for yesterday, it was Profar. He went 3 for 5. And so I'm 30-13 so far this season in my pregame show Padre pick. The one guy I think will get a hit if I could only pick one Padre and had to pick one Padre. Today I'm going to go with Jake Cronenworth. Getting back in that 3-hole, left versus righty. Don't like a whole lot of other matchups. I know I could go Manny, obviously, but that's a right versus right matchup. I'm going to go with Cronenworth. Feel free in the chat to let me know who you would go with. Who will you pick today? And then as for other news and notes, Dom Smith of the Mets was optioned to AAA. And remember, we were all happy that it seemed like that Hosmer Dom Smith deal was going to happen, and then it didn't happen. And maybe some of us were bummed. Um, Paddock was in that deal. I think Pagan was in that deal, but it ended up not happening. And look, Preller seems like he made the right move, right? Because you save Paddock and Pagan for the Taylor Rogers deal. Taylor Rogers is now the closer. He's going to be a National League All-Star this year on the team, just like Melanson was last year. And then on the other side of things with the Mets, you don't get Dom Smith, who struggles this year so far. He's been struggling, and Hosmer was one of the team's MVPs offensively over the first month and a half of the season, probably. I know he's been struggling as of late, and May is not over yet. He still has today. I know he's not in the lineup, but he still has today. So we'll go over those April splits maybe tomorrow. We'll see. But yeah, it seems like, Hosmer's really contributed to this team offensively, and Dom Smith has done nothing for the Mets. And then you get Rogers, because you're saving Pagan and Paddock, and that wouldn't have been able to happen. At least those 2 players going to Minnesota for Taylor Rogers if you dealt them to the Mets for Dom Smith. So it seems like both sides of that deal have worked out so far this year for the Padres. All right. I think that will do it for the news and notes. San Francisco's in Philly. The Yankees play the Angels. I know it's not National League West, but that seems like a pretty good matchup today on TBS. A little before the Padres game kicks off. Colorado's hosting Miami at 5:40. And then the Dodgers host the Pirates. I think the Dodgers came back and won yesterday. But Walker Buehler sucked. It was a home run derby there. Tucupita Marcano took him deep. Brian Reynolds, I think, took him deep. Just fastballs down the middle. So that was fun to see. But the Padres are 3 games back of the Dodgers as we talk right now. Let's see. John says Padres should start Azokar and bench Grisham. That's what I've been saying. That's what I said last week before I think the Cardinals series, I think on Friday. Or not the Cardinals series, sorry, the Pirate series on Friday. Um, but Grisham with the walk-off, I think he started yesterday. Yeah, both of them started yesterday. Then he's starting today, hitting ninth. So, I mean, Grisham has more of a track record, so maybe they're going with that. It is a righty and Wainwright on the mound today, so maybe right versus left matchup, they're going with that. But yeah, I agree that Azokar should start over Grisham, but that's not what they're doing right now. Yeah, Sky says pretty scary to think what this team would be without Taylor Rogers. Yeah, he has been amazing so far this season, and holy cow! With the bullpen, with Wilson not being great as of late, Lamette struggling, and now he's in Double A, and Robert Suarez, Luis Garcia being up and down. Yeah, who, man, who would be the closer right now for the Padres? You just don't know. Like, would they have a consistent closer? I don't know. Would it be Chrismat? Would Nabil Chrismat, who was the long man, who wasn't even guaranteed to be on the roster opening day last year, would he be the closer? Right now, it feels like that's what it would be. Him or Luis Garcia. So, yeah, that's a good point. And then you say the Dodgers lost yesterday. Okay. But the Padres still 3 games back. So, oh, yeah, that kind of makes sense. Yeah, because if the Dodgers lost, Padres lost as well. So, they didn't gain any games. So, still 3 games back. All right. That'll do it. Oh, yeah. Derek Jeter got a Twitter account too, if you care. Whatever. That's another note that I saw. All right. Padres Cardinals 4:45 first pitch in St. Louis tonight. Valley Sports San Diego 97.3 The Fan. I am Ben Fadden, your host. Talking Friars YouTube page right here is where you're watching this. Hope you subscribe for daily Padres content. Thank you so much. Enjoy the game, everybody. See ya.